This is the Almost Timely newsletter for the week of November 27th, 2022. What's on my mind this week? Gratitude, thanks, and contrast. A little something different this week for the USA Thanksgiving holiday weekend. While everyone else is binge shopping or dealing with turkey hangovers, I figured we'd talk about gratitude and giving thanks. I'm sure that you have waded through the emails from every company you've ever had contact with and the piles of insincere thanks from them. So I'll start by being a bit of a curmudgeon. Corporations cannot give thanks. What? How can I say that? A bunch of marketing managers are really angry with me right now. It's simple. Corporations cannot give thanks any more than robots can, because gratitude is an emotion, right? And emotions are the domain of the living. Your dog has emotions. Your fish has emotions. You have emotions. But a corporation is not a living entity. Anything without a central nervous system cannot have emotions, and corporations don't have those. Therefore, corporations cannot give thanks. Gratitude in our context as marketers and business folks can only come from other living beings, right? So your company's CEO can absolutely express gratitude, but the institution cannot, not in any real meaningful way. You, as a marketer, can be thankful. Right? I am personally thankful to you because you're paying even the slightest bit of attention to me at all, especially this time of year. I'm grateful for your attention. Okay, so now that we've gotten the curmudgeonly part out of the way, let's talk about gratitude some more. For years, I've had trouble with the concept of gratitude. Yeah, it's always been too abstract. Be thankful, be grateful for what you have. People say, sure, that makes sense, right? But how do you bring that to life? Write it down in a journal, talk about it with friends, make a mood board. People have all these suggestions, these activities you can do, but they have always felt performative, right? They felt like they were being done to showcase or highlight what I had. And to me, that didn't feel like gratitude. That didn't feel like thankfulness. When I think about thankfulness, about gratitude, I think about real emotions, like feeling relieved. Someone does something truly nice for you. How do you feel? If it's something I needed help with, something I wanted respite from, I feel a sense of relief. Oof, thank goodness, somebody helped me. I was stranded on the side of the road and someone helps me change a tire. Relief, thanks, gratitude. Right? Someone gives you a gift that's heartfelt. How do you feel? What emotions do you feel? Joy, eagerness. Wow, look at this. This actually means something. This person put some real effort into this thing. When you give your dog a treat, what are the emotions that your dog feels? Relief. Oh, thank God, I've been hungry for hours. I just fed you. But relief, happiness, eagerness, maybe a little bit of greed in there. The dog's like, hey, got any more of that? But those emotions are real. They're acute, heartfelt. You feel something in that thanks and that gratitude. Thinking abstractly about your life and being grateful, I don't know about you, but exercises like that, they never really made me feel anything, right? It felt like I was reviewing a spreadsheet or doing an audit. Right? It's important, it's quantifiable, but it's kind of bloodless, kind of heartless. So here's the hack that I found. The thing that helps me to feel something. I think about the contrast. Think about whatever aspect of my life that I'm supposed to be grateful for. And I think about a time when I or someone close to me didn't have that, or when we nearly lost it. For example, I spent the past week caring for my elderly parents who were COVID positive, watching how hard the disease hit them, sapping them of their strength and energy, sending my father to the hospital for a few days. He's almost fully recovered, thankfully. That highlights the sharp contrast in my own health, right? I am thankful and grateful for my health because I see a living, sharp, acute example of what the absence of health looks like, what it feels like in people I care about. When I think about prosperity, I think about the time 4 short years ago when I didn't have any. When I started Trust Insights with Katie, I cashed out a healthy chunk of retirement fund to pay the bills for the year. Right? And I was living far below my means just to make it through the year, just to make ends meet without my family being heavily impacted. Those days, thankfully, are in the rearview mirror. But they are a sharp contrast to today when the company is doing much better, when I don't have to calculate how much to spend at the grocery store that week. That's contrast, right? And that contrast evokes real emotions. Thank goodness those days are over. When I think about friendships, I think about friendships I've lost, the people along the way that I've parted ways with, amicably and not so amicably. I think about what went wrong, how much I valued those friends. And I feel that sense of appreciation, of relief that the friends I have today are still with me. Again, there's that real emotion in there. When I think about even the basics, think of my friend Anne. She lives in Kiev in Ukraine. And for the last 3 days, she's had no electricity at all. Russians bombed the power stations in her part of the city, and there's no way to know when she'll get electricity back. And it's literally freezing there. It's like 28 Fahrenheit there in the daytime. That I have heat and light and electricity. I can do this recording, and she can't. That's gratitude even for the basics. Sharp contrast, a sense of relief, a sense of thanks. By the way, you can help out by donating to Ukraine. Go to united24.gov.ua if you'd like to help. The net of it all is that gratitude requires contrast. It requires the opposite of what you have so that you understand its value and importance. When you have contrast, you feel so much more than a rote recitation of the things that are present in your life because you remember, or you feel what that absence is like. Right? There's a great quote by Mike Lipkin, a motivational speaker, said, "I would do this for free, but I make you pay so you understand the value of what you're getting." The same thing is true for gratitude. When you contrast it to the times that you didn't have something, you understand its value so much more. That's the news for this week. Let's take a look at what's happening. We have some job openings here. Senior Analytics Engineer at Galaxis, Brand and Digital Marketing Manager, LHH, Digital Marketing Director at Merit Group, Director of Data Science at Storm 6, Director of Demand Generation for Vivantio, Group Director of Data and Performance at Spinutech, Marketing Manager at Taylor & Francis, Senior Digital Analyst at Cancer Research UK, Senior Manager Strategy and Analytics at Mission Lane, and SVP Marketing at Propel. In the news this week, Katie and I did a fun episode of the Trust Insights podcast talking about how to decide what your salary should be. So if you are interested in hearing that, link is in the show notes. For the advertisements, only a few more weeks left on the Data-Driven Marketer's Essential Planning Guide for 2023. It's a quarter-by-quarter, week-by-week planning guide for you to build your 2023 marketing calendar around, based on when people are in the office or not. So you can grab your copy in the newsletter. Other things in the news, going live on TikTok. TikTok and Instagram leading brand engagement and benchmark reports, developing content strategies, YouTube bringing photo editing and quizzes to community posts, an interesting debate on Search Engine Journal about whether link juice is the new snake oil of Google. And the answer is no, it's not. In artificial intelligence, strategies to watch out for in setting standards in web design, analyzing projected calculations, all sorts of stuff happening out there. But it is the holiday season, particularly in B2B marketing. Things are quieting down, so be aware that the news is going to be a little bit thinner over the weeks, but that's fine. That's fine. We can all use a bit of a break. Thank you for tuning in, for watching, listening, or reading. I appreciate that you've spent the time with me, and I'll talk to you soon. Stay safe. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.